Let's get going. So let's take some double shoulder rolls, followed by some single shoulder rolls. So going backwards, standing up nice and tall. Great, place the hands on the shoulders for elbow circles. Doubles to start with, getting that rib cage shifting forwards and backwards. And then let's take some singles. So the hips stay fairly still for this movement. All going backwards, but we're rotating the shoulders. Let's come forwards as well. It's quite a nice stretch across the back of the ribs. Feels quite pleasant. And then into whole arm double circles going back. So the first one of 10 things to do every day. So my home exercises, my holiday exercises tie in very nicely with the 10 things to do every day as well, which, as you know, hopefully counterbalance our bad postural habits that we get into every day. So then let's take a single arm backwards, and now do allow the shoulders to rotate, the hips to rotate, the ankles to rotate, going backwards to start with, and then coming forwards. Oops, just touched the wall behind me. So as I can see myself in the monitor, I'm hiding my arm behind my torso because I'm rotating that much. This is the important movement. Maybe come to here, hands on the shoulders, and just take that lovely wrap around. Maybe let your arms hang. So spinal rotation, really important, very important when we want to be exercising, and just, so if you're about to play some sport or something, perfect, a perfect warm up to do. Great, let's take some, keep the feet wide, insteps parallel, reaches up, trying to touch the ceiling. The goal of this is to lift the rib cage off of the hips, holding both arms up. Pitch that weight forwards, make sure you're on the balls of your feet, you can tap both heels. Let the arms lower, and then we're mobilising the side seam of your torso. So the first 5 minutes for me is just all about moving, mobilising, not stretching everything out. It's not really about a stretch, it's just about getting everything moving again, especially if you've been sitting fixed all day. So then let's take the fingertips to the temples. Think about the top elbow lifting up rather than the underneath elbow squashing down at the side. So get that length. Great, and then let's take some flowing side bends. Reaching across. I've taken my feet a little tiny bit wider there. And then one more here, we're going to go take one arm up and over, you're going to bend the knees, relax, swap the arms over, come up the other side. So imagine you're drawing a paint circle with that top hand, and then you're swapping your hands over, swapping the paintbrush into the other hand to finish off. One more in each direction. As you bend your knees, make sure your knees go over your toes, relax the head in the middle. Brilliant. Let's come into some sumo squats. Sumo squat here. So feet are wide, insteps parallel, sticking my bottom out, the chest is quite lifted, back is in its natural curves. I'm going to unravel my spine down to the floor and then roll all the way up. Stick the bottom out, come into your sumo wrestler squat or sumo squat. Unravel from your hips, let the head hang last, and then roll up, and again the head finishes off the movement. You could add to this a chest lift sumo squat. Unravel, lift the back. So this could become a chest and back lift. So we're mobilising the spine now. Breathing all the way through. Getting everything going. Let's change the direction of this, still mobilising the spine. This time roll down through your centre of your body, come into your sumo squat again and reverse to come upwards. So this movement, the head leads both ways. Chin onto the chest, round the back, push away a little bit, hands into the legs, lead with the head to lift the chest at the top. And so I call this a great big a ripple down and a reverse up. Both times you're leading with the head. Doesn't have to be anywhere near this big. I'm quite comfortable with the movements being this large. You could keep it all a little bit smaller. That's absolutely fine. How are we doing on the time? It is rolling on. Oh my. Okay, so one leg stand. One of our 10 things to do every day. Standing on one leg. Let's start with the feet together so that we know we're in a beautiful, good plumb line position. Hips and shoulders absolutely level and square to your front. Lifting the leg off and circling the foot at the ankle, and then circling the hands around at the wrists. So if you can see yourself in the mirror, make sure your top is level, you haven't shortened on one side. Everything is pretty much the same as it was. Change direction if you can. Try and also at the same time twiddle fingers and toes, get it all going, get it all moving, clear those cobwebs out. Standing leg, nice and straight, ankle will be wobbling about a little bit, that's absolutely fine. So this is something you should be doing every single day, not just the hands and the toes and the ankles and the wrists, but the standing on one leg, practicing balancing. So important. Let's swap sides. Feet together to reset yourself. Onto the other side. If you didn't think about it too much, you're probably already on your stronger leg to start with. Now you'll be on your weaker leg, so try and just be aware of that, knowing which one it is. Changing direction, twiddling, noticing one side might be more difficult to balance, it also might be a little bit tighter at the ankle maybe, or the wrists. That hopefully should all just be warming up nicely. Brilliant. A couple more things in our mobilising warm up. Just want you to swing, so back to your first leg, hopefully your weaker leg. Just swing the leg forwards and backwards. A functional thing, try not to be too restrictive. Just see if you can just let it go a little bit. If you need to hang on to a wall or the back of a chair, or the kitchen worktop, absolutely fine. Swap sides. So at the moment I'm swinging forwards and backwards. Just let your arms do what they will naturally do, which hopefully will be opposite arm to leg. Shoulders, upper body staying fairly still. And you just want to loosen up. We're mobilising, warming up that hip joint. Last one, some circles outwards, keeping the foot off the floor if you can. So this is becoming much harder now. Again, hang on to something if you need to. Circling that knee around. Make sure you go across the body, up as high as you can, out to the side as you can, out to the side as far as you can, sorry. Brush the floor as you come forwards. The hips will follow a little bit, that's absolutely fine. Don't fight it. Let's stay on the same side. And reverse the direction. This is much harder now. Opening out to the side, crossing over, lifting up. There might be some clunking and clicking going on. See if you lift your ribs up a little bit more off of your hips, see if that changes. It might not, it's absolutely fine. Ooh, give that leg a bit of a shake. And then back to the natural side, or the natural direction on the other leg. Circling the knee around. Go all the way across the body, lift it up, take it out to the side, don't be scared. Get the blood flow, get the healing juices, get the mobilising juices to that, in that joint, and then change in direction. It's like when you first start your car up, it's all a bit clunky and in the winter, and then when the engine starts to heat up and all that oil lubricates everything, and suddenly the mechanics drive a bit smoother. Our bodies are no different. Brilliant. Okay, how are we doing with timing? I think I'm not good. Let's go to reaching up, touching the hips, touching the floor, or if that's too much for you for the moment, just touch your knees. Just sort of coming down into a fairly wide deep squat. Your goal is to get into that deep squat. Knees are going over the toes, dropping the hips down. You're taking a hinge at the hips as opposed to collapsing your back round and down. So drop your hips down if you can. One of the 10 things to do every day, deep squats. And we're going to come back to that at the very end. Great, okay, I don't know about you, but it's quite hot today. Moving on to the next section. So, feet nice and wide, insteps parallel. We're going to take a roll down. Keeping that pelvis in neutral, draw the belly button in, let the arms hang, soften the knees. We're walking out. Spread the fingers and the thumbs far apart. We're walking out into the plank. Shoulders are over your hands, the legs are beautifully straight, you're holding that there. Then you're going to lift your hips and walk your hands back and roll back up again. We're going to do 4 more of those. When we come back this next time, so rolling down, straightening the legs if you want to, walking through a bit of a downward dog movement, coming into the plank. When we walk the hands back this time, so think about the shoulders when you're here. As we lift the hips and walk the hands back, maybe try and keep those legs straight to stretch your hamstrings, nodding the head, shaking the head, soften the knees, roll up through the spine. Let's go again. Chin onto the chest, mobilising. This is number 3. So we're mobilising the spine, we're walking out on the hands, keeping those shoulder blades flat against the rib cage wall at the back. Really, really important. Working our core every time. Lifting the hips. Maybe go to one leg this time. Release, go to the other leg. Just hanging on to that lower leg. Come into the middle, soften the knees, roll up through the spine. I think this is the last one. Forgive me if I've lost count. We're rolling down. This time we're going to stay out in the plank. Soft knees, reaching forwards. Get those shoulders over your fingertips. I've actually come right onto my toes. Legs are nice and straight. Feels really good. Feels nice and strong and secure. And then lowering both knees at the same time. So from here, we are going to come into all 4 square box position. So hands are underneath the shoulders. Knees are underneath the hips, and we're taking some wonderful shoulder rolls all the way backwards. This is a fantastic exercise for your shoulders, for your ribs, mobilising the ribs, getting those muscles all to wake up, all the muscles that are responsible for keeping your shoulder blades flat against the rib cage wall. I really should have brought my towel in, never mind. So changing direction if you haven't already. And then we're going to go round with your spine, your torso staying on the same level, so staying in neutral. So we're taking some horizontal spine circles, spreading the fingers and the thumbs far apart. Fantastic. From there, coming back to your square box position, we're curling the toes under. We're lifting the knees off. We're holding it there. Holding it there. One of your 10 things to do every single day is to brace. Hold this position. If your back is a bit dodgy, this will really help. Holding it there. I'm going to go and have to get my sweat towel. From there, all 4s. Knees are underneath the hips, so you've just braced, you've just set everything. Now let's release opposite arm and leg, touching the floor to start with, and then lift to the height of the body. Hold it there. Hold it there. And then imagine you're looking at your body from above. So you've got your arm opposite your shoulder, your hand is opposite your shoulder, your foot is opposite your hip. Open out on the diagonal. So I'm going out to the right with my back arm and to the left with my left leg. So I'm creating a diagonal line from the hand to the foot across my body. Come back to square And now cross over on the other diagonal. This feels really weird. Crossing over to create a diagonal in the opposite direction. Come back to square, place down, come back in. Hands underneath the knees, knees underneath the hips. No, hands underneath the shoulders. And here we go. Opposite arm and leg. Reach to the floor. Touch the floor to start with. Don't immediately lift the leg up. Set your torso. Be very aware when you lift that arm and that leg that nothing changes. Now open out to the side. So the leg is going away from the body, or both arms are going away from the body actually, away from your midline if you like. So you're drawing a diagonal line across your body from the hand to the foot. Come back to draw a straight line. So it's like your arm and your leg are railway tracks, easy for me to say. And now cross it over the other way. Try not to get your hips and your shoulders involved. Holding that there. Come back to square, touching the floor, and coming back to and into all fours. Great job. From here, we're going to take the opportunity to do some press-ups. From your box position, first of all. Thumbs are in, fingertips are in, and elbows are going to go out to the side for this first set. At least 5. The only thing that changes on our press-ups is the arms bending. The arms bending and also this angle at the hip changing. Elbows out to the side. If you can and or you want to, take your fingertips forwards, bring your hands a little bit closer together. Pitch your weight a tiny bit more forwards, so the shoulders are over the fingertips, tuck the elbows in. Again, the only thing that's changing is the arms bending, elbows tucking in. Nice big breath out when you straighten. Good, if you're still with me, we're taking those knees back, we're taking the hands out, dropping the hips forwards, maybe picking the feet up. Back to the first position, so hands are wide, fingertips are facing in towards each other, elbows go out to the side. This is your whole torso moving as one. At least 5. Doing a few more if you want to, changing that grip. Changing the position of your arms and your hands really makes a difference. Bring the hands closer together, fingertips are forwards, bring your shoulders really over, tuck those elbows in. So if your elbows aren't brushing your ribs every time you lower here, you're not quite in the right position. That's my 5th one. Woo. Well done. Rest those hips back. Fantastic. We are on to the next section. Coming into a seated C curve. So a very an exercise we use a lot in our Pilates classes. So sitting with the feet and knees hip width apart, sitting as upright as possible, tuck that pelvis under, round the spine, into a C curve from your tailbone to the crown of your head. Stay tucked under and lift up nice and tall. Rounding and lifting up nice and tall. So today we're just going to take this one into nice and rounded and then roll back into a balance basically. So I'm on my sacrum, really scooped in the tummy, bringing the feet and knees together. So this would be your rolling like a ball position if you were to go into that. But we're going to keep the feet and knees together and then you're just going to extend. Lower leg, touch the floor, lower leg and touch the floor. Alternating, staying really scooped in that tummy. My elbows are lifted, I feel like everything is rounded. My arms are rounded, my spine is rounded. It's just the legs aren't, the legs are extending nice and straight. So those were singles. Let's take some doubles. Holding this position. So it should be relatively easy, even if you haven't got great hamstring length, because the pelvis is tucked under. Holding that there, 2 straight legs, take the arms away. Hold that there, beautifully pointed feet. Good job if you're still with me. Finishing off here, tapping one toe to the floor and switching, and switching. Well done. Good work. Put those feet down, round and lift up. So the other application for that movement, one of the other applications, is to take a roll down. So let's take that movement all the way down to the floor, rolling onto your back. I'm really not doing very well with my 5 minutes for each section, but let's keep going. 30 minutes-ish. Okay, so we're lying on our backs in your base position. So think about the shape of your spine. Get yourself all nice and even, a good neutral pelvis. From here, we're going to take that same tucking under action in the pelvis, up and into a shoulder bridge, but a peeling shoulder bridge. Knees are staying over the toes. In fact, knees are above your ankles. You're all the way up, and then you're reverse peeling down. So articulating through the spine. Let's take that again. Leading with the pubic bone. Switch the buttocks on as soon as you lift the hips up. Reverse peeling down, softening that rib cage first. Unravel through the spine. Let's add the arms going up and over to this. So up with the hips, high as you can. Reach the arms up and over, leave them there, and then get this wonderful stretch all through the front of your body and your spine as you reverse. And again, tuck under, lift all the way up. So a peeling bridge is for articulating the spine. And then we're going to take a straight bridge. So just pop your fingertips on your knees. Keep the arms quite straight. And now lift your hips up into, so they make contact with those lower arms, all the way up and then lower down again. Lift the hips up. So this is our straight bridge in contrast. Watch that the shoulders aren't too rounded like my were. Shoulders pinned back a little bit and all the way down. Lifting up. And then let's take the arms up to the ceiling if you want to work a little bit harder, palms facing each other. They can be down on the floor. We're going to lift one heel, place it down. Lift the other heel, place it down. So this is pelvic stability work. You could lift a heel and lift the foot off slightly. Place the toes back down, place the heel back down. Swap to the other side. Heel, foot, just lifting the foot off a little bit. Harder with the arms up in the air. So your goal is to keep the pelvis, the hips absolutely still. All sorts of variations here, but let's just do a few more of those today. Identifying which is your weaker side. Good, and then let's take a reverse peel all the way down and come back to a neutral spine. Great, we're going to take ribcage closure with a leg slide. So both arms are going to go up and over to the floor behind you. As you do that, take that movement, slide the leg away along the floor, and then bring the arms back, bring the leg back in. Swap legs, but we're taking double arms every time. So ribcage closure does what it says on the tin. The ribs stay down. You keep them connected to your hips. Sliding the leg away. Try not to get all caught up on the floor. So I'm maintaining contact with the floor, but I'm not, my leg isn't so heavy that it's messing up my mat, if that makes sense. And the reason I can control that is because I'm switched on in my centre. Let's take both arms and one leg away. Bring the same arm as the leg away, back down by your side. From here we're going to draw the knee in to a knee fold position, flex the foot, touch that hand with the arm and then extend both the way along the floor. Stay on this same side for between 5 and 8. So we're focusing on ribcage drawn down all the time. You don't necessarily have to reach the floor with that top arm, as long as the shoulder stays still, as long as the ribs draw down. Pointing and flexing that foot if you can. So flex when you draw in, point when you extend away. Now keep the legs straight, keep the foot pointed. We're going to lift that all the way up to the ceiling, just stopping it at 90 degrees. Open the arm out that's on the floor a little bit further, and then reach and roll across this shoulder to reach to the outside ankle. Lower the leg with a flexed foot, lower the arm and the head and shoulders. We're lifting straight leg and lowering with a flexed foot. Lifting straight leg, lowering with a flexed foot. No idea how many we've done. I'm going to do 2 more. Perfect, last one. And let's bring the legs back in, slide the other leg away, bring the arms back in, double arms over, connect the rib cage, make sure everything is in the right position, bring that same arm as the leg that's lengthened away down by your side, and then we're drawing the knee into a knee fold, flexing the foot, touching just that opposite, with that opposite hand. So being very aware, this isn't particularly difficult apart from being very aware that you don't change the shape of your lower back when you draw the knee in, or your ribs when you extend the arm away. So essentially keeping your torso in exactly the same position. Flexing and pointing the foot if you can. This next time we're going to keep that leg straight, keep the foot pointed. Now we're lifting the straight leg up towards the ceiling. Open out that back arm, reach up to the outside of that ankle, roll across your shoulder, lower the straight leg, lower the arm, and lifting up, and lower, and lift, and lower. So there's a slight rotation. You're keeping your other leg still. There's a slight rotation in your, well, there's not a slight rotation actually, you're using the rotation of your shoulder girdle, your thoracic, your rib cage, you're using your obliques to twist, but the pelvis is staying absolutely still. Let's take 2 more. Roll across that shoulder. Fantastic, and relaxing there, really good. We are moving on to Criss-Cross, which is my favourite abdominal exercise. So let's start this with a single leg stretch. So hugging the knee in, extending the other leg away. My spine is rounded, I'm really draw my belly button in, I'm hanging onto this knee for dear life. This shin is nice and parallel to the floor, the feet are roughly at the same height. Swap over, hold that there. So you're getting a good compression in this hip and opening out of this hip, and this is the movement. I'm hanging onto this knee to keep my head and shoulders up nice and high. I'm going to switch and switch and switch. We're adding on to this, so we're not quite doing the crisscross yet. This is a single leg stretch, but a fairly easy version-ish. Well, it's not easy at all, but we're going to add on to this. Just when you draw that knee in, rotate your shoulders only to try and get your opposite shoulder to touch that knee. But nothing else changes. I'm still looking forwards, haven't moved, turn this leg out, swap to the other side, just take the shoulder towards the knee. So now you're getting your obliques involved. And switch, and switch. Hang on to that knee if you can. Now we're going to go into the crisscross, and this is a tough exercise. I know you're on your holidays, in theory, when you're doing this, but it's a good idea to work out. Always when you're exercising, just go that little bit more. While you're doing it, while you're getting sweaty, just do that bit extra. Okay, fingertips to temples. We're changing for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We're holding 2, 3, 4, and change. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and hold. 2, 3, 4. Change. 4, 3, 2, 1, and hold. 2, 3, 4. Change. 4, 3, 2, 1, and hold. We're on the other side. Change. 1 more and hold. 2, 3, 4. Change. 3, 2, 1, and hold. And 3, 2, 1, and hold. Last set with switching singles. Here we go. Switch. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And hug those knees in. Ooh, roll the head around. Oh, good job. That was abdominals done. Perfect. We're lying on our sides now. Still just using the yoga mat. Don't need any more space. Line your side in a beautiful straight line. As if you were standing up nice and tall. Great, okay, so we are here. We're going to lift, we're going to start with both legs at the height of the top hip. So lift the legs up, turn that underneath palm up, draw that underneath shoulder in a little bit. Try and keep your waist lifted from the mat. Try not to do what I was just doing then and let your top hip roll back. Try and stay on your side. So from the legs up, level with that top hip. Opening both legs an equal amount and double beat pulse together. Open, double beat. Open, double beat. Open. Let's go flexed feet when we're beating. And point to open and flex twice. And point to open and flex twice. Try and keep that waist absolutely still. It's very easy to lift the top leg, but the underneath leg hasn't really got anywhere to go. So try not to lift the top leg too high. Try and get the underneath leg to come up to join that top leg. That's where the magic will happen. It's the inside thighs we're really wanting to work. If you are feeling particularly strong on this one, you could maybe try it with the arm up in the air. Ooh, as an extra challenge, yes. Sort of works. Good, hopefully you can feel some great work coming into those inside thighs. Let's hold the legs up, feet together, pointing and flexing. Hold the arm up if you hadn't already. Marching feet. Get that underneath leg pushing up. Well done, and relax. Sit yourselves up, twiddle yourself around to the other side. Turning the palm up, drawing the shoulder down, stacking hips and shoulders, opening both legs equally and flexing to join together. Open and flex. Taking that nice double beat. Brilliant. So it's very easy, like I said, to forget about that underneath leg, to keep that underneath leg quite low. Focus on lifting the underneath leg up as high as you can. It won't go beyond your midline, not comfortably anyway. A light fingertip touch of that hand on the floor. Keep the shoulder drawn down away from your ears. Keep your waist lifted. Again, very easy to let that waist, that underneath side just collapse. Try not to let that happen. Starting to feel some good work on this side. So we're going to stay with the feet there. I didn't do any balancing on this side, but marching feet and the arm up to the ceiling. Try and just slightly lift that ear off of that underneath arm, lengthening the crown of the head in the opposite direction to those feet. Lift the waist, connect the ribs, working all the way through. And breathing. Wonderful. And relax. Great job. Okay, I'm nearly, I think I've got a few minutes over, but never mind. One more exercise to do. As you can see, I've got quite hot with this one. Good. Okay, so we're going to line our tummies and we're going to take the dart. So both ends of the dart, working the upper body and the lower body at the same time, but just building up to the full version, if you like. So settling yourself down, get the rib cage connected to the hips, big toes together, heels dropped out to the side, legs are relaxed, arms are by your side, palms are up. Allow your shoulders to relax completely and lower your head so that the tip of your nose is just brushing the floor. And then we're just going to take a lifting of the shoulders and start to turn the legs out in the hips. So switch the buttocks on, rotate the legs, lift your shoulder tips so they're level with your shoulders, the rest of your collarbone. Switch the buttocks on, so I've now got my heels together, my toes are apart. I'm sort of halfway to the full version, and then relax. Allow the shoulders to relax down, to touch the floor, hopefully. Bring your big toes back together and let your heels drop out to the side, and then again. So this is sort of like you're just starting to initiate the movement and the rotation. I have slightly lifted my nose off the floor, but not much. I've actually just probably lifted the back of my head and neck in line with the rest of my spine. I'm not trying to lift my back at this stage. Just lifting the shoulders, keeping the hands, keeping the lower arms as much as possible heavy on the floor. Try not to lift your elbows. Good, let's carry on with the whole thing now. So lift the shoulder tips, rotate the legs, lift the arms. Now as you lift your back and rotate your arms so your palms are down, open up the legs. Push the pubic bone into the mat, lift, 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 lift. Hold that there, reaching the fingertips down towards the feet and reverse everything to collapse down. One more of those if you can. So shoulder tips, turn the legs out. Switching the buttocks on, heels are together, toes are apart, but toes are on the floor. Lift the arms, but keep them quite low. Turn the palms down. Reach the arms, fingertips towards your feet. Push that pubic bone into the mat, lift the back, keep the back of your neck nice and long. Holding that there, and collapse all the way down. The good old dart, an amazing exercise. Finishing off for my 30-minute class, not with some spine circles. So these are these are vertical spine circles. Taking the rib cage out to the side, up to the top, out to the other side. Really important, especially once you've got all that lovely warmth in your body and your muscles, which hopefully you have as well today. So big toes together, knees are nice and wide, take the hips back on the heels, leave your hands to be as wide as your yoga mat, and then take a slightly mad sway from side to side. So we're just warming down, cooling off everything, but also taking advantage of that lovely heat in the muscles. Taking the hand that's furthest away from the camera, take it underneath your other arm and turn your head to follow it. And this is called threading the needle. You could just roll across that shoulder that's on the floor. You could just stay there and breathe. Should feel quite nice. Swap sides. Thread the arm through, follow it with your head. Roll across the shoulder, keep moving. Brilliant. From there, lifting the chest up, curling your toes under, keep your feet and knees nice and wide. pushing back into a good old primal squat if you can. So my heels are always off here. I'm just, again, capitalising on that lovely warmth in my ankles, my legs, my hips, to just get a bit more movement going here. If you can keep your feet flat, that's really great. We can't all do that, but just, that's fine. That's what we're sort of aiming for. Maybe just bending over those toes, maybe dropping the knee down, have a little sit down, swap to the other side. Entirely up to you. You might not want to do any of this. And then I'm just going to finish off walking my hands out, lifting my hips up into that downward dog stretch, which we didn't really do today. So push the chest back through the arms, maybe pad through the feet, stretching all the way through to your Achilles, walking the hands back, soft knees, rolling up through the spine, unravelling all the way, and I'm just about still in the camera shot and I'm a hot sweaty mess. And thank you so much for joining me. I promise one day I will do a 30-minute class.